Welcome everyone to our Lenovo webinar. While we're waiting for more attendees to join us, let me play a corporate video first.
She's never been to medical school, but she's critical to fighting cancer.
Really?
Really.
That's cool.
And this IT pro, he's never watered a plant. But he's critical to helping this farmer grow these huge things.
And all this!
Who's critical to education? It's not just Miss Jin.
Hey, I love Miss Jin.
Yeah, she's great, but this guy is critical too. You see, there's an army of people rewriting what's possible. You may not know their names, but they're solving some of our biggest challenges. They're the critical unknowns.
Well, until now.
And our mission is to power theirs with a range of device-to-data center solutions. Lenovo, smarter technology for all.
Ladies and gentlemen, welcome to our webinar on Thrive in the Remote Future. Please note that all attendees are on mute by default, so as not to disrupt the presentations. If you have any questions throughout the presentation, please utilize the question box, which is on your GoToWebinar control panel, and we will tend to it at the end where we have actually allocated some time for these questions. Right? So today we are also giving away two X1 ANC headsets. So this is only for those who really stay on with us throughout the presentation. So don't go away too soon. And we'll put all your names in a wheel at the end where we'll spin to draw the winners. All right. And those of us who stay at least an hour with us throughout this session, we will also be giving you Grab food vouchers. So look out for it in your emails after the webinar. All right. So let me introduce our speakers for today. As we can see, they're all with us already with their webcams on. We have Nick Lim, our segment lead from SMB Lenovo. He will be doing a welcome note. Hi, Nick. And then joining him after that for the presentations will be Gail, our services BDM. She will be covering on the modern workplace, and then followed by Jalil, who will be covering on the mobile workstations. And then of course we have Chloe joining us from the general manager of RentalWorks. She'll be covering on the flexible financing. And as we mentioned, the Q&A will be at the end. So if you have any questions, we can answer it then. So without further ado, let me just hand the time over to Nick. Nick, over to you. Nick, sorry, we don't have your audio.
Sorry. All right. Thank you, Amelia. Yeah. Good afternoon, ladies and gentlemen. Thanks for joining us this afternoon on the Lenovo Insight, where the topic is on Thrive in remote work future. Right. You can discover how you can reap the full benefit of work from anywhere from a flexible financing solutions that later part of the sessions, Chloe is going to go through on that. So before our panel of experts take over the session, I just want to take a few minutes to share some changing workforce trend on what our customer actually says about the tool solutions can provide to address the changing workforce and the environment. Right. Melia, next slide, please. Right. So if you look at it, the pictures over here, is remote working really a big deal? I guess this is quite evident that you can see from even early on last year, right? And in anywhere you flip the newspaper, or the big tech, big company is all talking about that. And especially with today, you have unified communication platform like our Zoom and Microsoft Teams, right? It actually makes working anywhere, collaborations, teamworks even much easier, right? So this is one of the major facilitations and accelerating of where the remote work is actually changing. Next slide, please, Amelia. Right, so this is just some survey that we conducted or we gather across different region. On the yellow color box here is more relevant to us. It's more for Singapore. If you look at it, what are the local trend, right? I think cyber attacks breaches, Singapore is slightly below the global trend. Then if you're looking at attacks increase due to working from home, actually Singapore has slightly above the global average. That give us the give the company the reason that you need to continue to invest in cybersecurity. And lastly, if you look at the average number of breaches across organization, Singapore is actually quite high compared to some of the global statistic that we gather, right? So I think then again, it requirement for company to continue to invest and also looking for the best partners and solutions to protect their ecosystems and their networking, right? Okay, next slide, please, Amelia. Amelia, next slide. Yes. So some of the voices from our customer, right? If you look at the left-hand boxes on top priority of company, security is ranking among the top. Likewise, remote working, cost optimization. Something interesting over here on the right, the biggest barrier in implementing priority areas of company changes is about changing readiness or change readiness, which is the employee themselves, the company themselves, and not so much about IT budgets and capabilities, about the mindset, the behavior, and all those that need to be changed. Right? Some of the main challenges of hybrid work environment, employee experience. I guess in Singapore context, we have many SMB, maybe people like yourself and some of the colleagues, employee may have adaptations towards a hybrid working environment because different household setup, different family has some issues. So one of the key challenges is obviously there. Productivity, I think to unplug ourselves from the physical workforce environment, in an office environment into a home and be productive, this is something always a challenge, right? And lastly, on security, wrapping up the main challenges. So the very interesting box over here, how Lenovo can help on that. So what do we mean by strategic guidances over here? Lenovo can come in together with our partner to provide those consulting services like modern workspace consulting, right? And support IT on deployment, security, and cloud computing. On endpoint management model, right? We talk about asset management, we talk about fleet management, and we also talk about multi-device deployment across different platform and different area, right? And flexibility and agility on ordering and deployment, right? This is talking about zero-touch deployment in some of the organization. And obviously, the ICT tool optimization is talk about system, process, and the rest, right? So these are some of the feedback that we gather from our customer that we did in a survey in a recent period. Right, Amelia, can you please move on to the next slide? Thanks. Okay, so this slide also quite interesting. Changing needs of a flexible workforce. I guess on the right, sorry, on the left of the pictures is quite common for us before the COVID situation, right? End user, most of the company, we all go back to the office, you work 9 to 5, 8 to 6, whatever, right? It's a very desk-bound, rigid work time, and it's usually a 5-day work bound by location, bound by temperature, and multiple devices, right? So today, we are working on the middle boxes, right? What does the end user need in the new trend, right? Working in anywhere, device, doesn't want to give me problem, the application can be used across properly in out of office environment or in either in office environment, and actually blur the line between work as well as home. So maintaining a work-life balance is very important. I guess then on the right-hand side of how the IT manageability is required, right? Today we talk about deploying updates on our out of reach user. So and when there will be trend whereby people will still be working on different time zone, right? We talk about digital nomad, we talk about working everywhere, and IT deployment has to be 360 now, right? and all those things, controlling environment, supporting our rich user in odd hour. And these are the things that is happening, right? And you may not see it is happening in a bigger company and maybe a more global size of company. And we are partnering with our customer, especially like RentalWorks, into managing this type of trend and behavior and migrations of how the workforce is moving. Okay, next slide, please, Amelia. Right, this is my last slide. So we talk about one Lenovo addressing a changing workforce. On the left boxes over there, intelligent device group. These are the product devices for end user. I think we are pretty evident that most people are very familiar with our notebook, desktop, our collaboration devices, our tablet, and our phone, right? And on the blue boxes, which is on the right hand side, is our infrastructure solutions group, where we do our storage, our server devices, and high performance PC, right? So on the bottom, which is a pink color, which is solutions and services group, this is a new structure that we have recently created to support our two solutions group or device group set of customer using our own expertise, our solutions together with our partner to give end user a enhanced experience and IT manageability and expansion, right? So in the middle part, just to quickly run through, right? Lifecycle services, we talk about planning services, configuration services, deployment services. We can do it together with our partner. And obviously for support and protection, we talk about all the post-sales, delivery, warranty, and the rest. So managed services, there will be many other things. I think later part in the device as a service discussion, right, where Chloe is gonna run through is part of the managed services that we can offer in terms of device as a services. And lastly, asset recovery services. We have trade-in, we have asset disposal, and the rest of the solutions that we can offer. Right. So with that, I hope you guys enjoying the session that's going to continue, and we look forward to see you guys again shortly. Before I end, and I hand over my time to Gail, our Lenovo Device as a Service BDM, to run through what we have in place here for this discussion. Over to you, Gail.
Hi, can you hear me? Can? Okay,
Can.
great. Thank you so much for your time today. As Nick was mentioning, I will be walking through Lenovo's Device as a Service. Let's go to the next slide. Okay, so we're all familiar with buying hardware as a cash purchase and owning it as an asset. With Lenovo's DAS or Device as a Service, you have the option of procuring it as a subscription model. So this is where we combine the hardware, the services, and if you need any software included inside, as a customized solution, we can put everything together as a predictable, affordable, periodic fee. So billing will be on a monthly basis. That's a typical way that we go about it. So the benefit to you is that there isn't any upfront cost to you. There's no capex that you have to pay for, and each solution is different, specific to your individual requirement. Okay, so we're going to the next slide. Okay, so our DAS solution is really customized, and it's a very business-focused solution basing on your individual requirement. So depending on what you select from us, there are various benefits. So we'll just go through some overall high-level benefits here. So with the more services that you outsource and you can leverage off Lenovo's and RentalWorks services, the more your internal resources will be able to focus on important business-related matters instead of supporting just the endpoints. So the monthly spend is predictable, hence it can be allocated for the monthly budgeting. And of course, there's no capital outlay, right? And then the assets are not on your books or so. Okay, so your devices can be supported with direct hotline to our technical account manager. So that gives your end users an instant support connection that minimizes downtime, right? So with hardware support and services all under one agreement, you will have one single point of contact for all your business requirements. Okay, we'll go on to the next slide. Okay, so what you see here is what we call the life cycle of the device. So our DAO solution is basing on the maturity of your organization, the business strategy, and the commercial drivers of what you see within the next 3 to 4 years. So basing on each option that you choose, each component will we will letting you decide what's important for you to retain in-house and what you need to be outsourced. So it's designed to support the device throughout the entire life cycle, and these elements will provide more of a holistic solution that will drive the benefits that we discussed earlier. So in the next few slides, I'll go more in detail into each individual component. We'll go on to the next slide. So we start off with what we call the whiteboarding session, and this is essentially a phone call where we sit down with you to understand what is your current environment, how are you currently doing your onboarding, your deployment, your support, where are your pain points and your issues, and also we help you to identify, like say, what are your business objectives for the next 3 to 4 years. So this gives us an overview in terms of where you are right now, what you want to achieve within the next 3 to 4 years, and then we will put together a proposal depending on that conversation. So depending on the complexity of the requirement, the call can range anything from a 30-minute to much longer when needed. And it really depends on the requirement. So this is the first step that we will take in order to identify your areas of needs. Okay, we'll go on to the next one. Okay, so next is our configuration service. So this is designed to both reduce costs as well as enhance the user deployment experience. So the options include all the BIOS settings, the image loads, asset tags, and driver installations. So all this can be done either at the factory level, where we are developing the device, or here in Singapore, where we have our configuration facilities as well. With the image loading and with autopilot, this will actually minimize the manual efforts required by our in-house IT whenever there's a new device set up. So the benefit to you is that once a device is shipped to your office or directly to your end user, the devices are ready to be used and operated with minimal downtime. Okay, next. Okay, so for the larger or more complex environment, we can provide also on-site deployment services, whether it's project management or engineers that you need on-site to facilitate any ongoing or answer any questions for your end users. We provide those facilities as well. So our deployment services can be tailored to the way that you want your users to receive the new technology. So whether it's a traditional where they can go back to the office to get it, and then we can have a concierge table there, we can have an on-site technician there, or whether it's an unattended deployment where they can just pick up the machine and go, or we can actually deliver the devices straight to your user's home location. So we even have like bagging services where the device is removed from the boxes. We can put everything into the box. You can have customized documentation inside there to welcome a new user. Things like that can be customized, because even though right now we are always emphasizing on, say, a touchless deployment, the human factor needs to be there as well. So we try to create the environment for you. Okay, next one. Okay, so for the ongoing support, so we recommend for our commercial customers to get the premier support. And this will provide the direct contact to our technical advisors. And if the remote conversation doesn't resolve the situation, the onset will be next business day, and then you will get priority parts as well. So we do provide various layers of supporting the device depending on your requirement. Next slide. Right, so a little bit more on the premier support. As I mentioned, you will get a direct line to our technical advisors. So this is actually a 24/7. The beauty of it is that if you don't have an in-house help desk or a level 1 to troubleshoot or do anything, your end users are able to call our technical advisors 24/7, and that will help to minimize downtime as well. Okay, so as I mentioned, if If it cannot be resolved via the phone, we'll be on site the next business day. Okay, next one. Okay, so there are a couple of other additional support options in our portfolio. So with so many people working from home nowadays, or even at a cafe due to COVID situations, accidents are bound to happen. So while we're eating or drinking in front of the laptop, there's spills or drops that may not be covered in the default warranty. So this is where ADP comes in to cover those incidences. If you have a company policy of retaining a physical hard disk at the end of the life cycle, so that's more for like your data retention or security purposes, you have that option of keeping your hard disk. Just let us know that all this can be factored in as part of your requirement. So what happens at the end of the life cycle, the contract period, before we remove the devices from your location, we will go in, bring our engineers in, remove the hard disk, give it to you, and then we will remove the rest of the device for other purposes. Okay, and finally, for the sealed battery warranty, depending on the warranty of the batteries, whether you want to extend it during the contract period, that can be done as well. Okay, next one. So touching on a little bit more on our managed services. So these are typically services that we apply during the whole contract period, so the 3 to 4 year contract period. So our services portfolio includes various options. Okay, so we can provide manpower, whether for short-term projects or you need, like say, a help desk level, or maybe even on-site engineers. We have various options available for you. Again, all this will be identified during the whiteboarding session at the beginning of that whole life cycle. Okay, so in terms of the site-based services, whether you talk about patching or compliance management, asset management, and as well as security portion, we do have various aspects available for you. So touching a little bit more on the security aspects, I think right now we are very conscious of the situation because we are all working remotely, and as Nick had mentioned, Singapore, we do have a higher percentage of getting attacked, and there's always news every other day about breach of the websites and everything. So what we've done at Lenovo is on top of our Think Shield, we have already partnered with strategic security principles in the market. So we can either complement what you already have, or we can recommend something that would be more suitable to your requirement. So if you're looking for technology that can detect like zero-day or next-gen malware in real time, you can reach out to us and we can discuss what are the various options available for you. Okay, touching a little bit more on asset management. Again, this is very similar as an issue because everyone's working remotely. How do you manage your asset? How do you make sure that your patches are updated? What if the devices go missing or lost or they were misplaced somewhere or someone took it? Do you have geolocation capabilities? So all this can be part of our conversation. It's part of the asset management options that we have as well. So just to let you know that we have various different solutions to meet the different requirements that you need. Okay, next one. Okay, so this is the last phase of the whole life cycle, and this is where we will include your company policies in terms of ensuring the data wipe before we remove the device at the end of the contract period. So because the devices don't belong to you, right? This is a subscription model. It's a contract for 3 to 4 years. So at the end of that contract period, the device will be removed. Okay, so our asset recovery services are designed to be as secure as possible. You will get a certificate of the data wipe, so it's part of your audit trail as well. Okay, so everything will be covered end to end for you. We will include the collection, the data wiping, the packaging, the logistics, everything will be included as part of the package. So in that sense, there's nothing for you to worry about, right? So just to expand a little bit on that, we can provide this service not just for Lenovo products. Basically, we can do the collection and the data wiping for any brand out there. So it's brand agnostic. So long as it's an IT asset or whether you have a peripheral, monitor, servers, we can provide this service as well. Okay, next slide. So this is my final slide. The list here basically covers some of the key objectives where majority of our customers will be looking at. So depending on the scope covered by your organization and what you want to outsource and leverage off the efficiencies that Lenovo can provide to you, these are the various benefits that Lenovo does will be able to cover. Okay, so thank you very much. This is the end of my presentation. Back to you, Amelia.
Thanks, Gail. So before Jalil comes on, let me just play a short video for her.
Thanks, Amelia. Hi, good afternoon. I hope you all can hear me loud and clear. Okay, my name is Jalen Ng. I'm the Workstation Business Manager covering Singapore and Indonesia. So today I'm going to focus on the mobile workstation that we are offering from Lenovo. Okay, next slide, please. Okay, so I will cover a couple of things in the agenda for today. That is the mobile workstation portfolio, the industry solution, and of course, why Lenovo workstation versus our competitors. Next slide. Okay, let's first take a look at the mobile workstation portfolio. Okay, we do have a a full range of mobile workstation ranging from a P14S and P15S, which is the entry level. Okay, so if you're looking into slightly higher end of a notebook, okay, but with better graphic cards, then the P14S and P15S will be a good fit for you. For the P14S, it's a 14-inch mobile workstation, and this allow you to choose between the Intel or AMD processor. That's the only one that can do that. The only AMD that we have for P14S. So you notice that you have a something that is more entry level. There will be the AMD processor, and then if you pay a bit more, you will get the Intel version. Okay, so the P15S Gen 2 will be similar to the P14S, except that it's on the 15-inch. Okay, so if you are looking into entry level, this will be the two range for you to go for, the P14S and P15S. Okay, then as we move forward, if you need something with a GeForce card, okay, that is a GeForce 1650 graphic card. That will be our T15P Gen 2. So it's a business laptop that pack power into it with the NVIDIA GeForce card. Okay, so what if you want something even better, okay, with up to NVIDIA T2000 graphic card? That's our P15V Gen 2. Okay, so V stand for value. So it's like an entry workstation for engineers. So if you are engineers, you want something entry level and yet give you the power and able to support up to a 4 gig graphic card of a T2000. So P15V will be a good fit for you. Okay. Then as we move on, we have the P1 Gen 4. Okay. P1 is a collaboration we have with Aston Martin. Okay. So since Gen 1, the Aston Martin engineer has been using it to design the car. Okay, the sports car. So we are into Gen 4 right now, and P1 Gen 4 is the only one that is actually a 16-inch screen. Okay, so if you're looking into something that is lightweight, okay, without touch screen is 1.8 kg, with touchscreen is still below 2 kg. Okay, so it's very lightweight, and yet graphic card we can go all the way up to A5000. Okay, which is a very high range of a graphic card. Okay, so depends on the what kind of application you're running. So if you want something lightweight and powerful, P1 Gen 4 will be a good fit. Okay, alongside we also have T15G Gen 2. Okay, this will be running either you have a choice of a GeForce RTX 3080 or 3070. Okay, so this graphic card is GeForce card. So for people who are looking into maybe a balance between work and maybe playing some game, and then you prefer GeForce card, okay, or maybe you're running Lumions, which will perform better in the with GeForce card, then T15G Gen 2 will be a good fit. So if you look at the T series, there's only two T series in the mobile workstation portfolio, which is the T15P Gen 2 and the T15G Gen 2. And these two only support GeForce card. Whereas the mobile workstations such as the P1 Gen 4, P15 Gen 2, and P17 Gen 2, these three models will support both GeForce card and the RTX A series card, okay, which is meant for enterprise grade. Okay, so P15 and P17 Gen 2, these two models, the only difference is the screen size, which is 15-inch and 17-inch. And you have a different combination of different processor with different graphic cards. So you have the flexibility, as the graphic card is actually a daughter card. So you can mix and match, okay, according to what you want. Okay, next slide, please. So what you're seeing is all the entire portfolio, right? So right now what you're looking at is our competitive landscape against Dell and HP. So if you're looking for equivalent of Dell 7750, that would be a P17 Gen 2. If you're looking in equivalent of a Power G7 HP, that would be a P15V Gen 2. So this help you to map across to our product in Lenovo. Okay, so we have a very good full range of a product that is available. Okay, next slide, please. Okay, if you're looking at the spec itself, like what is the weight of a different model of mobile workstation we have, you can refer over here. It show you the rate, the power supply, the battery life, what kind of battery comes with it, the graphic card that's supported. So we have a full range, the memory, the display, the processor. Okay, so the next slide will show you the P1 all the way up till the P17. Okay, next slide. Yeah. Okay, so you see the full range over here. So you can actually refer to the brochure that comes with it. Yeah. Next slide, please. So I've covered the entire portfolio. The next thing I want to cover is smart guidance for the best workstation configuration. When people spend on workstation, I think it's very important for us to know, like, what are the different components we should be choosing. When you choose processor, what should you be looking out for? The memory, the graphic, and the storage. These four components is very important in choosing the right workstation, even a notebook, be it a notebook, a desktop, or even workstation. Okay, so let me go through each one of them. Okay, next slide, please. I'll start off with the processor. So a lot of time we wonder, should we go for high clock speed or should we go for more core? So it all depends on the application you're running. If you're running like a single threaded application, high clock speed will be better for you, or to give you better performance. So if you're doing like 2D, 3D design work, right, definitely is actually a single threaded application. So go for high clock speed. Okay, that will give you better performance. But if you're running things such as engineering simulation, rendering, finite element analysis, AI application, etc. Okay, example of such applications like NC, Simula, Abacus, the Autodesk CFD, then higher core count or even up to dual processor will be a better choice. Okay, because these are all multi-threaded application. Okay, so I think this will help you to decide which kind of processor you should be going for. Okay, next slide, please. What about memory? Okay, a Lenovo rule of thumb is that we will recommend that you go for 4 gig per core. So if you're running a machine that is 8 core, let's say, so it's 8 times 4, you should have 32 gig of memory. Okay, so that's a rule of thumb. If you the capacity, how much memory should you use? So it all depends on the kind of apps, right? Or the workflow. Like solid modeling, we will suggest 16 gig, large assembly 32 gig, and then if you're doing simulation, at least 64 gig. Okay. Right now, when you look at the memory that's available, it range from 2666 all the way to 3200. Okay. One thing to take note of is that never try not to mix the memory together. It's supported, but however, if you mix like two piece of 16 gig in 2666 and then another two piece with 3200, you are running all at 2666. It always run at a lower speed. Okay, so there's something to take note of. The reason why mobile workstation is different from your normal notebook is because it supports ECC memory. That is because they offer the Intel Xeon processor. Okay, so Intel Xeon allow you to do ECC. So what is ECC memory? Allow another additional level of high availability, right? Because it can do error correcting of your memory. Okay, then the next thing is how should you populate your memories in your mobile workstation, okay, or even notebook and desktop. Okay, a lot of time we have 4 DIMM slot, for example. We wonder, should we put 1 times 32, 2 times 16, leaving 2 empty, or we go for 4 times 8 if we want 32 gig. Okay, I will let you know that it's exactly like your highway, okay, your TPE, your PIE, your KPE. More lanes, less traffic. Okay, that is how you try to remember, this way. Okay, because it's more layman term, it's easier for you to understand. So maximize the RAM per channel, meaning that you have 4 DIMM slot, put all 4, occupy all 4 DIMM. Okay, that will give you better performance. Okay, if you were to put like 2 times 16, you may not get as good a performance, and you're leaving 2 empty slot. Maybe you think, oh, next time you can upgrade, right? But by the time you upgrade your memory, is like 2-3 years later, memory price has gone down and the memory speed is different. So if you mix it together, different memory speed, you're still getting a lower speed. Okay, so what I would suggest is to always populate the number of DIMM slot that you have. Okay, occupy all the slot. Okay, and you can always recycle whichever memory that you don't need, right, to those user who do not need such a high, the high range of memory. So maybe they need less memory, so you can pass it to them and then change all your 4 DIMM slot to become the latest memory that's available. Okay, so that's on memory. Next slide, please. Okay, let's talk a bit on the graphic card. But because when people talk about mobile workstation, or rather, why do you choose a mobile workstation versus a normal notebook? Is when you need a better graphic card. Okay, and this graphic card itself has a memory on its own, so it can actually process your data without going through your CPU. Okay, so this will help to make sure that you access to your information even faster. Okay, so you'll be very surprised, right, when you look at the application that is below, as simple as a MS Office, okay, you actually require at least a 4 gig card. Okay, because sometimes you may be wondering, when you open up too many Excel, right, then you wonder, hey, how come it takes such a long time? That was because you do not have enough memory on your video card, right? So you are depending on your CPU to help you to do processing. Okay, so if the more memory you have on the video card, it actually helps you in that manner. Okay, so 80% of the customer usually will use up tier RTX A3000, which is 6 gig card. 20% will go for the RTX A4000 or A5000. Okay, um, so if you need VR ready, then you will have to go for at least a A3000 onwards. Okay, I forget the VR ready sign on this. So A3000 will also support VR. Okay, so just bear in mind, you can see the different kind of apps on your left hand side and the workload. So you then know which graphic card you should be going for. Okay, next slide. Okay, I've also created this slide based on what is offered in NVIDIA that we are carrying. So this help you to compare the different kind of slide graphic card that's available. So the GPU right now for the enterprise range will be the Ampere range. We start with A. So you will see RTX A5000, A4000. These are the latest card. Okay, versus what you may be getting previously, it could be the older range of cards. So anything that you see under the box new, right, that are the newer card. Okay, which is the older card will actually transit to the newer card. Okay, some of the older card they are still offering, that means NVIDIA is still offering them until more new cards come about. Okay, so you can actually refer to this to know what is the the NVIDIA CUDA, okay, the processing core. So this help you to decide which is the card, because sometimes you look at it, you say, hey, all of them are running like 4 gigs, so what's the difference? Okay, that's where you look at the CUDA processing core. Okay, and also the number of monitor that you can connect to. Rule of thumb is that most of them can support up to 4 monitors. Okay, so just help you to understand more on the graphic cards. Okay, next slide, please. Okay, then the next important component will be the storage. Okay, we started off with SATA hard disk, right, which is like 200 to 300 megabit per second many years back. Okay, but it's like very old right now when you look at it. And then we move on to SATA SSD, which is double the performance, is 500 megabit per second. Okay, right now everybody is talking about M.2. So when you choose a notebook, always remember go for M.2 PCIe SSD because it's 10 times faster than a SATA hard disk. Okay, so that means that when you access a file, it's so much faster, whether it's a read or writing. Okay, and the price wise is not much higher than your SATA or SATA SSD. The good news is all our mobile workstation is using M.2. We only offer M.2 for our mobile workstation. Okay, so if you have a budget constraint and you want a mix of two on your desktop, etc., then what I would suggest is at least one piece of M.2, be it 256 or 512. That is to run your OS, your apps, your cache file, and your project file. Then your archival and storage can be on your SATA hard disk or SATA SSD. Okay, so this way you still getting the performance, okay, because your archival and storage can be on a you know lower range of hard disk. Okay, next slide please. So we have covered the portfolio. We have covered also how to then configure the different component. The next thing what I want to share is the industry solution that we are offering. Okay, next slide. So when you look at the AEC, the architecture, engineering, construction professional, okay, typically what kind of workflow they are looking at? Digital fabrication, scan to BIM, BIM on the go, etc. So if you're in this industry itself, okay, if you can go back to office and you want to use a desktop, of course, P350 tower, P520 and P520C will be a good choice. But majority of us are still working from home, so you can go for P1 Gen 4 or P15 Gen 2. So it depends whether you are doing 3D BIM, 2D documentation, or you're using complex 3D BIM and visualization. So a typical application you look at over here will be the Autodesk Revit, the V-Ray, the Lumion, SketchUp, etc. Okay, next slide. Okay, what if you are from the manufacturing professional? Okay, and then the thing you're doing will be slightly more different. Okay, because you are doing more like a 3D design and engineering. Okay, or you need to have some simulation done. Okay, or you need to do some complex multi-physics. Okay, so for that kind of workload and the application typically here we are talking about is like the NCs, the CATIA, the Simula, the Inventor. If you're in this range, then I would suggest you can refer to the spec that is given over here. Okay, next slide. So I do have it for different industry. Media entertainment is also the target professional that is for us to offer the mobile workstation too. Okay, if you're doing like 2D, 3D animation, or you have to do more complex work, then you will go for the bigger range of the desktop workstation. But if you are just doing some designing work, you could use the P1 Gen 4. Okay, why is this important? Right now when everybody work from home, digital marketing is definitely a way to go. And then because of that, a lot of people will have to do a lot of video editing, okay, before you post it in your website, okay, so that customer can refer to what you have to offer. Okay, so media entertainment professional will be looking for this range of workstation. Next slide. Okay, I do also have it for financial services because there's a full range of different people who will be using it, right? Like power user, okay, which are your traders, your data analyst who is going to use do some analytic on the data that is available in the banks, okay, or maybe the front office folks or the back office and retail people, the admin function support function people. Okay, so there's a full range of different product that suit their needs. Okay, next slide please. Okay, AI, everybody is talking about AI, right? And then they will ask for machines that is able to do like a large machine deep learning. Then you can go for our desktop workstation like a P920. But if you're just doing some of the development work, okay, or you want to do edge computing, design or ISV, a P520 or even a P series mobile workstation can do the job. Okay, so you can refer to this slide if you are thinking of applying AI to your industry. Okay. Next slide. Okay, what about oil and gas? Okay, oil and gas itself, they will do a lot of 3D processing, imaging, interpretation, visualization. Okay, so you can also do a remote client. We do have this remote client where your desktop workstation is actually in office, but you could be home using any of the mobile workstation and access and process most of the work done in office. Okay, so that is using a TGX kind of solution. Okay, so it's a TGX receiver and with a TGX sender, which is in office. Okay, so for such cases, the use case will be, to do some kind of remote client or engineering CAD tools. Yeah. Okay, next slide. Okay, what about healthcare professional? Okay, if you are from the healthcare side and then you're looking into ways how you can do imaging informatics, even AI, predictive analytics, okay, then what you can do is you can see our range of product. It could be as entry level as our P350 tower or a mid-range P520. Okay, then we have of course our P1 Gen 4 and the P15 Gen 2. And if you're looking into pairing up whether your desktop workstation with or your mobile workstation with a monitor, I would suggest you go for the ThinkVision P series, because when you have the best of class workstation, right, we want to make sure that we get the correct color and accuracy when you do your designing. So P series monitor will be a very good fit. Okay, next slide. Okay, what if you only use Autodesk product? Okay, just a Revit and AutoCAD, or maybe a Autodesk AEC collection or AutoCAD LT. Okay, so I do have the different config that you can refer to if you just use Autodesk product. Okay, so this more for the architecture, engineering, and construction segment, which is AEC. Okay, next slide. Okay, so yeah, so for manufacturing in Singapore, quite a lot of people are using SolidWorks. So SolidWorks have two version, right? You have the standard professional or premium and simulation. So if that is the case, what you can do is go for P350 small form factor or the mid-range P520C. Okay, you can also use the entry level mobile workstation, which is the P14S, P15S. Okay, or the P15 Gen 2 if you have to do more simulation. Yeah. Okay, next slide. And for Adobe user, okay, if you just use Adobe Photoshop, Premiere Pro, After Effects, then I would suggest go for P1 Gen 4, okay, but with different spec. Okay, so it depends on whether you need to do Premiere Pro and After Effects, then increase the memory to 64 gig if that's the case. Okay, next slide, please. So we have covered the entire industry solution. The next thing is why Lenovo mobile workstation. So why do you buy the mobile workstation from Lenovo? Okay, next slide. Okay, first thing we have something called Lenovo Performance Tuner. Okay, this comes free with all the workstation you purchase, be it whether it's your desktop workstation or the mobile workstation. So what it allows you to do is that you can install this on top of your workstation, which has all the ISV application, like I mentioned earlier on, right, SolidWorks, your Adobe, etc. It will actually do a tuning for you to make sure you get the best performance. So this automatic tuning, okay, it will allow you to do like power management, application priority, application affinity, etc. So even the graphic card management, BIOS management. So you don't have to do it manually yourself. This will be done automatically using Performance Tuner. Okay, so this comes free with all workstation purchase. Next slide. Okay, so one other reason why people go for Lenovo is because when you refer to this third party research, which is TBR, okay, so what they did was they look at the product that's available, okay, in the market for workstation. So then they do a test like year 1, year 2, year 3, what is the repair rate? Okay, so Lenovo actually stands at 7.8% repair rate in year 3 versus 9.7, which is from our competitors. So that makes us 20% more reliable than our competitors. Okay, so usually our mobile workstation will last definitely more than 3 years. Okay, it can last like 5 or 6 years. Yeah, so investing on a mobile workstation is really worth it. Yeah. Next slide. Mil spec. Okay, I'm not sure whether you're aware. ThinkPad series, majority of them will have this thing called mil spec, military spec. Okay, so for all mobile workstation that you are seeing today, okay, it has actually done testing has been done. Okay, testing for 12 mil spec method and 22 procedure to ensure that it can handle any environmental hazard. So what kind of hazard are we talking about? Mechanical shock, okay, vibration, sand and dust, fungus, altitude, solar radiation, extreme heat, right? Can be extreme high or low temperature, humidity, etc. So, and we are also the only one who can, just flip your mobile station all the way down, the screen down, having it flat. Okay, it's not a problem at all because we actually do a hinge test, so you can just move, up and down without worrying. Okay, because a lot of our competitors' product, when you do that, you will see a line coming out. Okay, because it's not, it did not go through that kind of test. Okay, that we have gone through. Okay, so mirror spec is very important. Yeah. Next slide. Okay, when I talk about ISP certification, this is what I'm referring to. So the all our mobile station will be tested for all these ISV application which are commonly used on workstation. Okay, it could be Lumia, Katia, all these. Yeah. So if you are using any of these application, you have to make sure that when you choose a workstation to run your application, you must make sure that it's certified. Okay, so I do get this kind of question to say, can I use a normal notebook and run this application? You can, but you may get things such as jagged edge, and then you may get color decoloring, because you have to be ISV certified, okay, to make sure that you get the right precise color and accuracy when you do your design work. Okay, that's why ISV certification is very important. Okay, next slide please. So I have come to the end of my session. Okay, and I'm going to pass the time over right now to Chloe from Rental Work. Okay, over to you, Chloe.
Hi, Chloe. Yes. All right, we can see you now.
Okay. Hi, good afternoon. Welcome to today's webinar. My name is Chloe. I'm the General Manager here at RentalWorks Singapore, and we're proud to be Lenovo's official channel device as a partner, device as a service partner. And I'm very excited for the content that we're going to share. My segment's the last one, so please bear with me, and we'll get to the lucky draw session very soon. So in this session, I'm going to discuss the common IT acquisition and management challenges and how Lenovo Device as a Service through RentalWorks can help you with these challenges. For those that are not familiar with RentalWorks, we provide IT leasing and asset lifecycle management service with footprints in Singapore, Hong Kong, and Malaysia. Our mission is to connect PC manufacturers, end users, e-waste recyclers to reduce costs, maximize the asset lifespan, and ensuring responsible disposal. Okay, next. What differentiates RentalWorks from other IT leasing providers is that we have expertise in both finance and IT, and we openly communicate to our customers about the extension of IT assets post-lease. We also provide not just hardware, but value-added services like certified data erasure service and IT asset management portal, which are managed by our in-house IT team. RentalWorks also works directly with PC vendors like Lenovo and certified recyclers in the region to provide affordable leasing programs and at the same time ensuring responsible e-waste disposal and recycling. Next, please. So our focus is mainly SMEs, and startups, but enterprise and government will also get the benefits of our direct approach with PC manufacturers. Next, please. Obviously, we are a proud partner of Lenovo, and as a PSG approved vendor, we have been serving over 5,000 SMEs with a remote working bundle under SME Go Digital program. Okay, next. Okay, so there are three main areas of core business offerings. First is asset acquisition through operating lease, device buyback trade-in, and asset sale and leaseback. And then our life cycle management includes deployment, protection plan, and level 1 support. And lastly, asset end of life management includes logistics, decommissioning, and asset recovery. please. As a strong believer of the circular economy approach, which aims to reduce waste, recover resources at the end of a product's life, and then channels them back into production to reduce pressure on the environment, our lifecycle management service aligns with Lenovo device as a service model. And as a Lenovo channel partner, we do not only integrate Lenovo's products and services in our offering, but also complementing with our expertise in the acquisition, refresh, extension, and recycling process in the life cycle. Next, please. So I'm going to go through the challenges that we are facing today. The challenges for organizations today is that they have a lot of different types of devices, all looked after on an individual basis by the IT department, or sometimes even HR or admin department, which leaves us with several problems. Usually there's a mix of operating systems. In fact, many customers have shared with me that even now they are still using Windows 7, and we're already moving on to Windows 11. They also have warranties that are all expiring at different times, or sometimes users may not have the correct devices, either under-spec or over-spec. For example, a designer who needs to use a Photoshop program is given a model that's more suitable for an admin person. Next, please. As I also mentioned earlier, many SMEs do not have in-house IT capability. So other functions like HR, admin, and sometimes even finance are managing the IT equipment as well as the day-to-day user issues that come with it. Now, let me ask you a question. How often that you end a support call with a complete satisfaction? Or how often do you receive a series of instructions on how to check your laptop that you are not even sure where to start? Customer support has slowly evolved to focus on delivering support in a cost-efficient manner and often at the expense of customer experience. I'm sure you're familiar with very streamlined self-service model, which make use of technologies like bots, web chats, AI to handle customer support interactions, which even myself find disjointed or technically overwhelming at times. Next. Okay, next challenge are the most common ones, but are also often overlooked. With the flourishing, innovative, data-intensive applications and business models, awareness of risks associated with data has also risen, like Gail has mentioned earlier on. Just recently, I'm sure you've heard about the hospitality platform Red Doors, found to have compromised security of 5.9 million customer records in the largest data breach incident since Singapore PDPA came into force. There's also the famous SingHealth cyber attack, and we've seen companies disposing obsolete equipment by giving them to you call Garangudi uncles without going through any proper data sanitization process. So data breach can happen very easily if someone is to reuse these equipment and recover the hard disk. And according to a survey done recently, improper disposal also contributes to 10% of data breach incidents. Now, let's talk about the next challenge, cost. Let's say you have 10 employees and your company is growing rapidly. All of them are going to need a new laptop anyway, or even a better laptop every few years to work efficiently. You found a good deal, 1,500 laptop times 10 employees, it's going to cost you $15,000. And then you have to take into consideration the cost of deployment, the cost of support and maintenance, the cost of replacing your hardware after warranty ends in 2 to 3 years. And of course, the opportunity cost during downtime. So if you add all these up, it's going to cost you an additional 30 to 50% or more from your initial investments. To me, that doesn't sound like a good deal anymore. please. Okay, last but not least, how can we forget about the ESG issues like carbon emissions, water efficiency, ethical supply chains, environmental friendly manufacturing? Now, we're at the point where sustainability is no longer considered nice to have or good to have, but is also recognized as core to how businesses should operate and behave. In 2019, there were approximately 273,000 SMEs doing businesses in Singapore, comprising 99% of all enterprises in the city. And because the contribution to the local economy is so huge, SME's commitment to sustainable practices actually make a big difference. But why has acting responsibly on ESG issues remain a challenge for many SMEs? So besides common belief that they do not have enough resources or expertise to implement sustainability initiatives in their operations, small businesses may also find it more costly to adopt products and services in the sectors having good ESG practices, such as food, technology, and pharmaceuticals. Taking your daily budgets for gadgets like laptops, smartphones, tablets as an example, over 80% of carbon footprints actually come from the manufacturing process. So to address this, RentalWorks will help to reduce carbon footprints by 50% as we extend the asset lifespan by at least 2 to 4 years post-lease, with many ways which we will share in the next few slides. Next, please. Okay, before we go into more details of device as a service, first I would like you to think about how many subscription services you are using on a daily basis. The chances are the number is a lot higher than you actually think. We've got Netflix, we've got Microsoft 365, gym membership, even my clothes and coffee bean supply on subscription. And most of the time, we are paying on a monthly subscription style basis. The concept is pretty much here to stay, with reports that over 75% of organizations will be offering subscription style service by 2023. In the business world, subscription can also be referred to as a service. It can be confusing as there are many different terminologies like desktop as a service, technology as a service, and even everything as a service. And as we're trying to navigate through this pandemic, many companies, especially the SMEs, are looking for different ways to source for their IT needs, especially one that's cash flow friendly yet flexible. So, echoing Gail's comprehensive explanation earlier, device as a service, or in short, DaaS, is a subscription service that offers complete IT hardware and software solutions. It ensures that workforce is kept up to date with the latest and the most secure devices, and allow businesses to quickly scale up when needed without the risk of significant upfront investment. So, with a monthly predictable fee per user, as low as $44 a month, here is what you're gonna get. Next, please. First of all, a brand new Lenovo laptop. So RentalWorks offers a wide range of devices through Lenovo Channel Desk. You can see a very sleek and lightweight ThinkBook 13S that comes with both i5 and i7 11th Gen processor. Next. We are also no strangers to the premium ThinkPad X13, which also comes with touchscreen option called X13 Yoga. And lastly, next please. Yeah. For a more powerful machine with inbuilt graphic card for engineers and designers, we also offer ThinkPad 14S under desk model, which is Lenovo's smallest and lightest mobile workstation. If you have other Lenovo models in mind and would like to include them in the desk program, just feel free to reach out to us and we'll customize it for you. So besides hardware, we also bundle these value-added services under desk that aims to address all the common problems that I have shared earlier. First, you get free configuration and deployment service. It also comes with asset tagging and access to our management portal. You also get on-site next business day advanced technical support with simplified end-to-end case management. So no more frustrating customer support experience. There's also accidental damage protection for non-warranted damage like accidental drops and liquid spillage. And then when your laptop breaks down, we provide temporary unit and no cost to minimize downtime. You will also get free cloud-based solutions to enhance mobility. And finally, when you return the desk unit to us, we provide free secure data sanitization and a safe, environmentally friendly disposal. Now, why desk is the right solution for you? Next, please. Okay, first of all, DAS gives you the benefits of reducing total cost of ownership, avoiding large capital outlay to acquire and upgrade your equipment. What does that mean? It means you get easy access to new technologies every 2 to 3 years, as well as standardization of devices across your organization. In addition, bundled cloud solutions like endpoint protection in Microsoft Suite, as well as secure data erasure, will also help to enhance productivity and security. And last but not least, we implement ESG practices by extending the life cycle of the assets that are coming back by refurbishing it, and then we use them to support non-profit organizations in the short-term events as well as donations. Next, please. Okay, some of you might be familiar with this face. We'd like to share one of our long-term customers, well-known local SMEs, Far East Flora. Now, gentlemen, you know where to get your flowers from. Rental Works have played a very big part in their growth as well as their commitment to sustainability. Okay, in summary, investing in depreciating assets like IT equipment can be very costly if you have a big team and in this ever changing and challenging business landscape. So what you need is to channel these resources to expanding and growing your business, and that's why subscription service like DAS is perfect for your companies of all stages and sizes. So that's the end of my sharing segment. Thank you so much for your attention. If you have any questions, please feel free to contact our sales team after this webinar so we can share more with you. I will pass the control back to Amelia to guide you through probably the most exciting activity of today's session, the lucky draw. Amelia, over to you, please.
Thanks, Chloe. But before we do that, I think we just want to give a few minutes to open the floor to the audience, whether they have any questions that they would like to ask. So maybe I can get our presenters to just join us. Let's just. So, ladies and gentlemen, like we mentioned earlier, or some of you may have missed it when you join us, there is a question box on your GoToWebinar control panel. So we have all our presenters back with us. Just put in your questions there, and then we can answer them live. So, ladies, we'll just wait a little while to see whether there's any questions coming in. Sometimes it takes a little while for them to warm up before they start typing in the questions. Looks like our audience are a little bit quiet today. So or maybe it's because everyone has just been absorbing all the information that's been shared and taking a while to digest it. So I'll just maybe give another minute or so, but of course, like I think Chloe has also mentioned, and even together with the Lenovo team, we open this time round for questions. But of course, if after the webinar anyone also thinks about other things that you need to clarify on, please feel free to reach out to the Lenovo team or RentalWorks team, and they'll be more than happy to assist you. Yeah. So looks like today, no business for questions. All right. So I think, ladies, I won't hold. Oops. Okay. Just as I was going to say, no questions. Suddenly, I got a few in. All right. Okay. Someone said that he bought numerous yoga, which was not amongst the models introduced. Does it have a different name?
I think we did mention X13 yoga. Is it the model that you purchased?
Yeah.
But yeah, but any models that are not shared today, we can actually customize the desk package for different customers. So just feel free to reach out to us on the model of your choice, and then we will work out with you on the desk package. Thank you so much.
All right, we have one more question, Chloe. This is with regards to the success of Pies Flora. So the question is, does that mean the company did not buy, but just leased the unit at the 44 a month?
It's not 44, it's just a sample number, but obviously they have been leasing from us for the past over 3 years, and that's how we are supporting them in their growth, and as well as their scaling up activities. Yeah, so they have
All
been
right.
leasing instead of purchasing outright.
All right. So someone asked if they're interested in with the Lenovo subscription, who can they reach out to?
They can just reach out to us. I'm sure all of these attendees have RentalWorks contacts. Otherwise, we will also reach out to you again on with the packages that we're offering, as well as our contacts, so you can just get in touch with us through that way.
All right. I think I'll just give maybe another 15-30 seconds for any last questions. Otherwise, we can move on. Right, so ladies and gentlemen, we'll probably take just the last question. Otherwise, we'll close this session. All right. Okay, in that case, I think we can close for now the questions. And if there's anything else, again, please reach out to RentalWorks as well as the Lenovo team. And I know now, like Chloe already promoted it earlier, everyone's excited for what we're going to do next. So I'll have both of you ladies as my cheerleaders while we. So this is what we're giving out today. We are giving out 2 units of the Lenovo ThinkPad X1 ANC headset. So what we've done is, for all the attendees that have stayed with us, we've actually put their names into a wheel, and I will. So let me just pull out the wheel right now, well, so that we can actually see who are our winners. Right, let me just give me a bit of time. Let me bring out the wheel. Okay, right. So let's see who will be our first lucky winner. Okay, let me spin.
Okay, let's see who's the lucky one, huh?
Yes.
Chloe, make sure your name is not inside.
I thought that Jerry will say, "Is your name inside?" Okay.
No, I can't.
Our first winner is Chia Lilian. Congratulations,
Congratulations.
Lillian. And then let's go get who is our second winner. Okay, I'll spin again. So to be fair, we removed Lillian's name already. So let's do
Oh, that
another.
was fast. Oh,
Hey, second winner
Samuel.
is Samuel. Samuel, I don't have your last name, but since it's the only Samuel on the list, so congratulations, Samuel. So we will be contacting.
Congratulations.
So congratulations to both Lillian as well as Samuel. Now we will be reaching out to you separately after this so that we can arrange for the prize to be sent to you. All right. So with that, we've actually come to the end of our session. I think we are doing a good time. We have ended just a little bit earlier, but it was a good and very concise sharing from everyone. Thank you again to Nick, Gail, Jalil, and Chloe for joining us today and sharing the different insights. And to the audience, I hope that it's been a fruitful afternoon for you. We definitely hope to be able to have more sessions like this with you all. So with that, as you're about to leave, you will actually see there's a short survey that will pop up. So please give us your feedback. We also want to know if there's any other topics that you want to see us cover in future webinars, and we can see how we can arrange that for you. So with that, we thank everyone again and keep safe and have a good week ahead. Goodbye.
Bye bye.
Bye.